Oh, we're doing the...
Yeah, unless you got something else.
What is a common myth about your job or field of expertise?
That I'm somebody's therapist.
That's one. Yeah.
I think we can both relate to that one.
I think the one that we like saying no.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of like a service industry thing. Is like a lot of people assume like, oh yeah, I mean, we do get enjoyment out of being like, being like, it's only like sometimes like certain person, you're like, you've pissed me off. I want to tell you no now because you're pissing me off. But generally, no, we're like, yeah, I would like to help you.
Yeah, it's like
my job is to help you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
my job is to be of service for you, not to
But it's like a bartender cutting you off. A lot of they're doing it for your own good.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to cut anybody off.
I want to keep making money off of you.
Yeah,
but you're now too drunk, so I can't make money off you anymore. So
exactly,
transaction's over. There
we go.
Or like an ID or what I mean. It's like I don't want to have this awkward conversation with you, believe it or not, for the sixth time today.
Why do you got to check my ID? Because it's my fucking job.
Or like the worst is when you you get rid of somebody, they're too drunk or don't have ID, whatever, and then you see them walk back into the establishment.
Oh,
and you're like,
God. Yeah. No, I had one the other day. Like a big group of people came in. I was like, all right, I'm gonna need to check everybody's IDs. And I get through everyone, and I see this one girl that's kind of like hiding behind.
Oh, that's always fun.
And I was like, I need her ID too. And they're like, well, she actually doesn't have it. I'm like, okay, well, she can't be in here then. Like, if you guys want to get food and eat it over there, that's fine. But this area is the bar. I can't have anyone without proper ID. And they're like, well, she is 21. I'm like, okay. Again,
she should have her ID.
I need to check IDs. Like, if you don't have your ID, I can't let you be in here.
Yeah.
And they're like, come on, man. Can't you just like let it slide? I'm like, no. And I was like, that's when I'm happy to say no. And I'll say it like with like, no, I'm not fucking around. This is my job.
I do get a like sick fun out of like a really douchey, like bro type ordering like drinks and being just kind of that way and their card gets declined. Oh, that's always really satisfying.
Like they're all like, I'm a baller, and then it's like, sorry, you're gonna have to pay another.
You're broke, and then she ends up having to pay or something. That's the best. Then I'm kind of being spiteful and rude. Okay, all right. So this is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Welcome to the new year. Are you ready? Okay. New year, new me, new movies. New year, new me, new movies. Is that the name of this block now?
We didn't. If you didn't listen last week, we decided to go ahead and make a list of movies that came out in 2022 that we either enjoyed or hadn't seen because we don't usually do newer stuff.
Yeah, and I think it just kind of be fun. Especially like going into the Oscar buzz. I thought this movie had a nomination somewhere, but I was wrong, which is fine. But I mean, with the next couple of movies that we're going to be watching, there is Oscar buzz for some of them.
Yeah.
At least two of them I know. But this week, if you didn't read the title, if you're just somehow blindly clicking on stuff and not even knowing what you're doing, we are reviewing last year's Bullet Train.
Yeah, August.
Oh my God, the way that you looked at your notebook, I thought you were like, oh, I watched the wrong movie.
I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that to happen.
Just literally that pause, I was just like, oh, fuck.
So released July 18th at the Grand Rex, which was the premiere, and then U.S. release August 5th, 2022.
Yes. And it was number 17 domestic and worldwide for box office. So how many movies did you watch in 2022?
29.
29? I had 20.
Yeah. Well, sorry, 24.
24? Okay.
24,
yeah. So, which I was actually surprised.
I was very surprised.
I was surprised that I watched as many as I did.
I was like, oh.
But there was, I think also like streaming has become, since we can just like watch a lot of these new movies and just casually.
Yeah, no, totally. It's just like, you go on Netflix and you're like, oh, I was interested in that. I got 2 hours to kill. I'll throw it on.
Well, that's kind of how like I stumbled across this. I was like, oh shit, Bullet Train's on Netflix now. I wanted to see that really bad.
Yeah, that's the same. I was like, oh shit, cool. Like this nice little surprise. I love when that happens.
Speaking of nice little surprises, let's get into a director and every. Oh wait, no, what's your synopsis?
A group of assassins cause murder and mayhem on a train in Japan.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
That's all it is.
Did you enjoy the movie?
I loved it.
Yeah,
this is so much my shit.
Dude. I know.
No, it's like we were talking about this a while ago, but it's that my favorite kind of action movie. That very
Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, and
Carpets and mentalized.
Yeah, carpet and mentalized.
Compartmentalized.
Yes, because I was always talking about I like action movies like this where there isn't like the end of the world, meteor coming down. It's like a very just with these people. It's very intimate.
It's almost like it's like kind of like a whodunit, mistaken identity.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like all of the things kind of like melded into one.
And very Guy Ritchie.
Yeah,
like in the humor.
And speaking of like Guy Ritchie, it's like really. So this was directed by David Leitch, who directed the first John Wick. And he also directed Deadpool 2 and Atomic Blonde.
Oh, he was the what is it called? The secondary unit director
for what?
For John Wick.
No, he was the director of John Wick.
He's uncredited.
What?
Yeah.
Why does it say? Why did I look up on ABD? It said director.
It says directed and then uncredited because he's the second. He's the second unit director, and he was a producer on it.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. Well, yeah, because he was also.
I didn't know what a second unit director was. Now I do.
I mean, well, generally it's like the fight choreography stuff, or
filler, transitional scenes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, because you don't have Martin Scorsese filming the train going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Martin Scorsese's working with the actors.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that makes sense. And it's usually for big production.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Before we get into writer, I do also want to point out for this movie. Oh, did you have anything more on David Leitch?
Yeah, just Atomic Blonde. I think you said Deadpool 2.
I mean, we're going to see a couple of crossovers here with like other people that he worked with, whether it be actors. And then who I wanted to bring up, the fight choreographer for this, I looked up because I was just curious, and I feel like a movie like this
I wish I had thought of that, but yes, I did.
Greg Rementer, who also he did Atomic Blonde's fight choreography and second unit director. He did Nobody with Bob Odenkirk.
Oh, I love that movie.
He also did it for like Avengers Endgame and Infinity War and Civil War. And I was just kind of sitting there as I was like watching some of this choreography. I was like, wow, yeah, I can totally. It's like I kind of see his fingerprint now, and like all of the different movies that I've seen him do fight choreography for. I was like, huh. Interesting.
I haven't seen Atomic Blonde yet.
I haven't seen Atomic Blonde either.
But I liked the fight choreography in this a lot.
The fight choreography, it was really well done, really well shot.
It was very had moments of very Old Boy.
Yeah,
because of the narrow train that you're using.
Yeah,
that was cool. Yeah. So there's a lot of bouncing back and forth between like a 6 foot like space.
I mean, I feel like a lot of inspiration just in like the direction of this film as well. It felt very anime as well. Even in the dialogue, which I mean, we'll get like this is a Japanese novel as well, based off of one. Let's just like really quick for writer. The screenplay writer I got was Zak Olkewicz. Olkewicz, who I only saw just like credited as being a writer on Fear Street Part 2, the Netflix original.
Yeah, and I just wrote down as a producer for Lights Out. Yeah, because I really liked.
And I was just kind of like, oh, that's interesting. That they don't really have much, and I don't see anything in like really pre-production or anything as well. So, like,
and have you seen Lights Out yet?
I have, yeah.
That's just fun for the light and dark visual spooks.
Yeah.
Spooky moments,
I don't know if I need to see it again. I remember being kind of just like unimpressed with the movie in general.
Oh, 100%. But I thought visually it was fair. Cool. Just with the the turning the lights on and off and she's getting closer.
But yeah, this movie was based off of a novel called Maria Beetle, written by Kōtarō Isaka.
Yeah, who's kind of more of like a mystery crime author, like thriller type.
Like he writes novels and manga. Like this is part of this is a sequel to one of his like hitman assassination like stories, and then he also has a couple of mangas that like he'll like take like have a novel and then like write a manga as a sequel to it.
Nothing really popped out to me.
I'm
not very into manga though, so
neither am I.
Quite a lot though.
It seems he's much more acclaimed in Japan.
Yeah, it seems like a big deal in Japan.
And like this movie or this story was adapted for like a live adaptation in Japan. So there's like a stage play of this.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they also had like this is not its first adaptation, but also this adaptation kind of got a bunch of flack for whitewashing. And which, I mean, it's fair because you're taking a Japanese novel where you're assuming every character is essentially, Japanese unless otherwise stated. And then you're recasting majority of it with white people or just other people like different ethnicity other than just Japanese.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of people.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, it's other than like the main cast, the rest of it is like the main supporting cast, like they're in Japan, so everyone else around them is pretty much Japanese, except for the angry white woman, which that was just weird.
There's a lot of weird moments.
Yeah, but even like so, like the screenwriter of the screenplay writer kind of defended like, hey, like a big thing about what this novel is that it's kind of very ethnically ambiguous, which we felt like the world itself lended it to. Like if it's a world of assassins and hitmen, like their world wouldn't just be stuck in like Japan. This would be a worldwide thing.
Well, and that's what by doing it, it makes it more interesting because you're having, in my opinion, because you're having assassins from around the world.
Yeah.
So they're
it's like you could have had like the American, the Russian, the Brits, the Brit twins.
You know? You could have this kind of like a flavor,
Yeah.
The cartel guy with the big gold belt buckle and the white weddings, what I mean? Like it gives them all a cool look.
Yeah.
Because they are so
it makes them distinct
characters, you know. They're all not wearing a black suit and a black tie like John Wick. They're all different.
It's a color. It makes them colorful.
Yeah, it makes them pop. Yeah. Which I like.
And it's like, obviously there is a problem in Hollywood of whitewashing, especially Japanese and Asian stories. And like the big argument with all of that is that people are like, well, why would we want to hire this, an Asian star that doesn't have a big name for this thing? We want to draw, a box office of people that want to watch it. It's like, well, you're not giving any Asians the chance to become that big star.
The new Brad Pitt
exactly. Yeah. So it's like, you're using that just as an excuse to just not cast Asian people. So, I mean, there's an argument for both sides of it,
Well, yeah.
For this movie in particular, I think whitewashing in Hollywood is an issue, very much.
We also have to think of it's a bunch of dudes in a boardroom trying to make money.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, if we get Brad Pitt on this, that's gonna bring in people.
But I think that
because also there's a lot of people in this movie.
I think this movie was very well casted.
I liked everyone.
Yeah.
Like the main ones that
all the main supporting main and whatnot.
Like Tangerine and Lemon, I really liked they were really funny,
Yeah.
Even Brad Pitt, I really liked Brad Pitt in this.
He's
kind of goofy and aloof, but he's like...
It's like he's going through something, but like still like is really good at like his job.
Yeah, like his doctor said, like, you need to back up on the stress or you're going to have a heart attack. And he's like, okay, but he's like, but I am an assassin.
Yeah.
So we're just going to be like, hey, man. I thought he was really funny.
Hey, can we just talk about this?
Yeah, he's funny. He's trying to be all zen and like...
Well, speaking of starring and whatnot, we'll let you get through that. There we go. Let's go into the starring and I actually have kind of a list of everybody and let's just like be very quick on like who they are. Okay. This isn't like 23 people like in New Year's Eve, but there is like 12.
Yeah.
So the biggest one is Brad Pitt, and we have done a Brad Pitt movie.
Cool World, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I was like, oh damn, that was early on.
Brad Pitt, who's our leading assassin, who we meet. 12 Monkeys, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. With big names like that, it's the fun game of the first one.
I just wrote Fight Club. That was the first thing that came.
There you go. Yeah, Fight Club.
Joey King plays Prince. Also, one that's really cool about this movie is that you don't really get anybody's actual name.
You get their
like handles or just the nickname that they're just gonna have in the story.
Yeah, and he's Ladybug now because he's like.
I love it. I also love how that is like what that unfolds with the end with the elder.
Real quick though, I played this game with my partner too, and it was like Brad Pitt first. And she goes, "Legends of the Fall." I'm like,
okay.
I'm like, have you seen Legends of the Fall? She's like, no. I'm like, then why is that the first movie? Like, that's a random ass movie for you to say if you've never seen it. But anyways, I just thought that was funny. I was like, I forgot about Legend of the Fall.
So yeah, Joey King, who plays Prince. She's probably most famous for Kissing Booth, really, or The Act.
Yeah, and she's in that new like woman power princess movie where she's like a badass warrior princess.
I don't know what that is.
It was like on Hulu or something. I wanted to watch it, but I never got around to it.
Then Aaron,
she's supposed to be the damsel in distress, but she's like
actually a badass.
Yeah, kicks ass.
Is it Aaron Tyler Johnson or Aaron Taylor Johnson?
I thought Taylor.
Okay, I just want to make sure I wrote it.
I wrote down Taylor.
I always say Tyler, but it is I always say his name wrong.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Aaron Taylor Johnson. Kick-Ass. He's Quicksilver in
one of the Quicksilvers.
In Age of Ultron. I was going to say Age of Ultron. He got big. Like he was kind of like, I mean, he was fit in Kick-Ass.
Yeah, he was like swimmer bod, you know, like he was.
I mean, he got big before, like during for Quicksilver, but like he's just kind of a big guy.
I also think it's the costume helps because that design,
that mustache.
He looked awesome.
The hair with the mustache. I was like, this guy's gonna fucking murder someone.
Looks cool.
I like how as it continued on, just like how more just
intense he was getting.
It's like you could feel his eyes about to just fucking pop and just twitch, you know. And then his twin. He's Tangerine, right?
Yeah, he's Tangerine.
He's Tangerine. And then Brian Tyree Henry plays Lemon. Mm-hmm. And they're twins, but like the joke is like they're actually like they were raised together. Yeah, and one's black, one's white.
And it like implies like in some kind of like foster home kind of situation.
Yeah.
So they're brothers. They grew up together. Yes. So yeah, they're the twins.
And he's Lemon. I think he's most known for Atlanta. I don't know if you've ever watched Atlanta. He plays Paperboy.
I started
the cousin.
Yeah.
And then most recently he was in Eternals. He was the.
Oh yeah, he was in.
He
Eternals.
was the one that did the.
I
forget his character's name.
I completely forgot about that movie.
I got Andrew Koji next, but I couldn't find really anything that I think anybody would recognize from him.
Nothing popped out.
He's kind of more of a stunt fighter, it seems like. This is kind of, I mean, he's done a good amount of stuff in Japan, but this kind of seems to be his first, like, in America, like, bigger role. Mm-hmm. So we'll see where Andrew Koji goes after this. And Hiroyuki and Andrew Koji, he plays the father, right?
Yeah, the one with the kid in the hospital.
Yeah. And then Hiroyuki Sanada, who's Scorpion in Mortal Kombat, the most recent Mortal Kombat movie. Mm-hmm. A movie that I just recently saw that he's in called The Twilight Samurai, that I'm like, I need to watch this movie.
I love him.
Fucking badass. He is great. But
I love looking at him. He's got a really great look.
Yeah, he does.
He's very like intense. And
he is the elder.
Yeah.
He is the father's father.
It's like he can kill you. He won't, but he can. Because he's so reserved. You know,
let's go into Michael Shannon next, who plays the White Devil.
White Death.
White Death?
Yeah,
oh, yeah, thank you.
White Death.
White Death.
Who also we did
with Bug.
Bug, yeah.
And then Bad Bunny, who plays the Wolf. Bad Bunny is much more known as a musician.
Is Bad Bunny one of those, like, if I heard songs, I'd be like, oh, I know this song?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a lot more popular in Mexico and like Spanish, Latino people word I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. But he also, this isn't his first time being in a movie. He's been doing some like small little movie roles. He also has done WWE stuff. Like he's been a special guest, like
really?
In matches, and actually impressively good.
Oh.
Yeah, like he like set a new caliber of like special like celebrities doing like a special like spot for it. Mm-hmm. Like he upped the ante. It's like, oh, if you're gonna be if we're gonna bring you over, commit to like what this guy did, because he was fucking awesome.
Cool,
doing moonsaults off the fucking top turnbuckle and shit. Like it was great. Zazie Beetz, also from Atlanta, also Deadpool 2.
Oh,
the Hornet.
The Hornet.
Yeah, she's the Hornet. She's the one that has the poison.
Yeah, I was talking about Deadpool 2.
Oh, no,
she's
Domino.
Right, Domino. Yeah. That's why I was like...
No, yeah, so in this, she's called the Hornet. Yeah. Well, she's got kind of a smaller role, but it's kind of a vital part as well.
Yeah, really.
It's crazy how all of this like wraps up together as well. I love it.
It's one of those you can watch probably a couple times.
Dude, since it's my second time watching it, there was so much at the beginning. I was like, oh.
Kind of like Fight Club. You're like,
yeah.
Like dialogue and stuff.
Logan Lerman, who just quickly is in it as well. He's the White Death's son, and he's perks of being a wallflower. He's the main kid in that. Then I got Sandra Bullock, who is the handler, Brad Pitt's handler, and she's just in it at the very end. But you hear her voice throughout of it.
Yeah, Miss Congeniality.
Was that a surprise for you, or since you looked it up, like did you kind of like expect it, or did you recognize her voice?
I recognized her. Well, recognize her voice.
I didn't recognize her voice. Like throughout the entire movie, when I first watched it, I was kind of like, And the voice sounds familiar. I can't pinpoint it.
She said one line. I can't remember what it was, but she said one line, and I was like, oh, that's
Sandra Bullock. Yeah. And then really quick as well as Masi. I scribbled it wrong. Masi Oka. He plays the conductor. He was Hiro in Heroes.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Karen Fukuhara, who she's just kind of like the concession girl, like very short bit as well.
Yeah, so random.
But she's Kimiko.
Kimiko.
Yeah, Kimiko in The Boys.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's got a pretty big cast, and like Masaoka and Karen Fukuhara is kind of more of just like a quick nod. Like they don't have very big roles.
No, not at all. Yeah. Like it's one of those like if I didn't know Karen was in it, I probably would have missed her. Like, wait, where was she? Especially because she's blonde and
yeah. Well, when I was watching, I was like, is that fucking Karen Fukuhara? Like what the fuck? Why is she what's happening?
Why is she in this?
Well, this movie also like they filmed it during the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there was like it took them like 6 months or so to like kind of film this. Because of all the COVID-19 protocols and whatnot. It felt like it may have been something that was filmed like right before the pandemic and then took a long time to release because of the pandemic. But, but they also, while they were filming it, they had the set directors like for like, through the window, they just like had like portraits, like big, like landscapes of like Japanese scenery. Mm-hmm. Like for them just kind of like look out and see to just kind of immerse them in the world. So they felt like they were in like Tokyo, Japan. So I don't know, some cool little things. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I really like this movie. I'm really excited for the reviews.
All right. You want to get into them?
Yeah. Let's get into those reviews. Review, baby.
All right. So Metacritic, there are 20 positive, 32 mixed, and 9 negative.
Oh, did I say what the reviews were on IMDb and all that stuff?
No.
Oh, yeah. IMDb, it's 7.3. Tomato meter was 54, which I thought that was strangely low. And then audience score was 76. I was very surprised with the tomato meter being as low as it was.
Not.
Really? 54?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd expect it to be like around like upwards 60, mid to high 60s.
Well, let's... Yeah. Because I think this will give like ideas. So 90 out of 100 at Vulture is Bilge... Ibiri, I think that's what we're gonna go
Ibiri?
with. Yeah, Bilge Ibiri. Let's go with that. Bullet Train feels like someone crossbred Kill Bill with a Final Destination movie, and at times, how do you say his last name? David, the director.
Oh, Leitch.
Leitch. David Leitch's film is almost as glorious as that description makes it sound, elaborate and ridiculous, but dedicated to making the elaborate and the ridiculous feel. Well, not plausible exactly, but certainly compelling and fun.
Okay, yeah. I mean, but he gave it a 90 out of 100 too.
Yeah. Huh. Like, oh, okay.
That's those sometimes where it's like you score this really high, but you're talking a lot of like
kind of talking it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shirley Lee at the Atlantic with 60 out of 100. Bullet Train is stupid fun, all neon-drenched style over substance. It's the kind of late summer flick that coasts on nonsense, violence, and actors trying out questionable accents. The film is a solid showcase for hand-to-hand combat up until it evolves into a CGI drudgery.
She missed the substance of the movie. There isn't like a super amount of substance.
No,
but she makes it sound like there is zero substance.
It's actually got like a twist and like a whole thing.
Well, yeah, there's like I feel like there's like we'll get I have like
Mick at the San Francisco Chronicle with a 25 out of 100. It's not like bad Tarantino. That would be too kind. It's like an imitation of a bad imitation of Tarantino. Violent, unfelt, witless, and straining to be funny.
Witless?
Yeah, I was like, yeah. And this is, again, I've come to realize after doing this one, I think I'm going to start watching the movies and then doing these.
Oh, I thought you did do that.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
I went in and tried to get like I always try to get the most positive, most actual like mixed and then the more like just rips.
Yeah, I thought you did that after you watched the movie. Oh, yeah.
Before.
Oh, okay. Yeah, reverse that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, was that all of them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
that was just.
I don't know the way that you just. It looked like you were leading into more. Yeah, I don't like that last one. Fuck that negative one. Because like I feel like this movie, like one thing that I like upon a second viewing of it, it was very clear how every shot was deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that is put into this movie is deliberate. To the point that even the water bottle has its own quick little journey,
story,
which I thought was fucking hilarious. And like the whole movie is kind of about fate. And like what's interesting is that the two people that have like the most miserable like deaths, or like, you know, the villains is the White Death and Prince.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the two that have manipulated the majority of this, that are trying to make their own fate.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So like those that are just kind of like giving into fate being the thing, they are the ones that kind of that stay alive.
Well, and it's also like to say that it doesn't have any like. So again, I'm not saying this is like the deepest movie on the face of the planet.
No.
But it's like it starts off with all these assassins are on this train and they're all trying to get a briefcase.
It's kind of a mystery as well. It's a little bit of a mystery of just kind of figure out like why, like you're getting like, oh, like lemon and tangerine. You find out, yeah, so they have this guy's son, and they were, you know, they had to like rescue him and get his briefcase, and they're trying to deliver him back, the White Death, to the White Death. And you get Ladybug, who, it's interesting with the nickname Ladybug, and I love the foreshadow. There's a lot of foreshadowing in this, like whatever, right there, that the where'd it go? The constant foreshadowing moments they lend to the fate, to the theme of fate. You know, like how Brad Pitt's character nicknamed the Ladybug. He's like, oh, is that because, you know, you're just trying to say I'm lucky? Because he's convinced he's super unlucky. He's like, every time I'm on a job, something goes awry, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
you know. And then you find out with the Elder, he talks about how I forget what the word that they call a ladybug. It's like Tomo.
Oh yeah, I don't remember.
I can't remember it. But he's like, no, like the ladybug has 7 dots to hold the 7 sorrows. So the ladybug takes all of the bad luck to give luck to those around them. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't want to hold everyone's sorrows.
But it's like, it's like, because you, but then you find out later that there is this actual like larger kind of plot happening.
Yes.
And that's what gives it the substance, because you could have just had this movie about the briefcase and again fighting over because it was like what, $10 million in the briefcase.
Yeah, and it's just like a complete mix of like you know, man of mistaken identity, because like when Tangerine and Lemon, they find the White Death's son dead with his eyes bleeding out, but then you kind of notice that that's an ongoing theme throughout the movie, is that people keep having their eyes bleeding out of their fucking head pretty much. You find out that the Hornet's fucking killing people with it. Yeah. But Lemon, like accuses Ladybug, Brad Pitt's character, of killing. Like he's like, and I know you already killed somebody. You're about to fucking bag it on us. Brad Pitt's thinking like, oh shit, I just killed the wolf. How does he know that? Yeah. You know. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a lot.
So like he's admitting to killing somebody, but like he's not realizing that he's admitting
to killing the wrong person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was very fun, and it is like there's so much happening, and it's so like high octane like energy that it's one of those. I'm sure. I think this is gonna go up there with like Mad Max
as one of your like watch
action, like
go-to. Yeah,
movies.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because so like, all right, to kind of break down what the story is here, if we can, just really quick. It's like, yeah, Ladybug is just trying to get the briefcase because that's the job. He's just a snatch and grab job.
Yeah.
And since he's Mr. Unlucky Ladybug, everything goes wrong. And also, he's not even supposed to be on the fucking job. Ryan Reynolds fucking cameo. That's right. Yeah. Carver, which apparently he agreed to do that because Brad Pitt was in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
In his cameo. Yeah.
Yeah. I figured.
Yeah.
I figured that was
Lemon and Tangerine. Yeah, they're supposed to get the White Death's son and deliver him with a briefcase full of money that Ladybug is supposed to be taking. Then the wolf, he's just on a revenge mission, and he's living the shortest amount. Like he just has his fight with Brad Pitt essentially and gets murdered. Other than like his backstory that you see of his bride and on his wedding, everyone that he loved. They
pulled a Punisher.
Yeah.
They wiped out like the entire family.
They wiped out the entire family. Well, the Hornet wiped out the entire family, and he thinks it's Brad Pitt because Brad Pitt was I wanted to wait for Prince. Oh yeah, the father, his son was pushed off the ceiling of a building, or the roof of a building, not a ceiling, pushed off the ceiling. What? Pushed off the roof of a building, and the elder, who is his father, like the father is going to try to avenge for his son's like almost death. His son's like in the hospital, and he works for the White Death apparently.
Yes.
And then we have, I guess, Prince.
There's a lot of carrots in this movie.
Yeah.
You just kind of got to go, okay.
Yeah. But I mean,
it's that kind of movie, though.
It is very much that kind of movie.
You go into it with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm like wondering what the other people are like. Like it is superficial.
It's a high octane ride.
Yeah, like that's what I'm like. I don't know. It's always like that with reviews, though. You go, it's like, what were you expecting? It's,
I truly like the second time watching this, it's like, I get so much of an anime. Like if I was to say, like give an example of a movie, a live action movie that feels like an anime, this is one. Kill Bill is one of them as well, but that's a very different style of anime. The jokes in this, and I think that lends to the Japanese style of humor that they kept in this movie. It feels like an anime, a Japanese anime, very much. Just the way that, not necessarily how it's shot, but just like the rhythm to it, the fightings, the choreography, the characters, like the colorful characters. Like anime isn't filled with just like very bland characters. They're over the top characters.
There is like,
and they're kind of stock characters sometimes as well too.
Well, it's a Guy Ritchie anime.
Yeah,
because Guy Ritchie is funny but darker, also just in the look of his style. But
yeah, darker. Yeah,
darker toned.
Yeah,
but still, like they're funny in a dark way, in a dark kind of comedy.
Yeah, it's like the banter that happens between Lemon and Tangerine feels like it's out of like, it feels like Pulp Fiction.
It does, yeah.
It feels like a Jules and John Travolta's character. I can't remember
his name is.
But yeah, it feels like that common, that natural banter, but. Also, it like the way that it is presented just isn't it feels like Tarantino, but you're like, oh well, this is not Tarantino. Especially with Lemon's obsession with Thomas the Tank Engine, which then again, that's another metaphor if you think about they're on a train, his obsession with trains. And
that's more of a Guy Ritchie move, though. Thomas the Tank Engine thing.
I think that's a thing directly out of the book.
Oh, I was just thinking like dictatorial, like who could I feel like that's more of a guy, like having
I see what you mean.
The hitman that's obsessed with Thomas the Train Engine.
Yeah.
Feels like more of a guy.
I'm trying not to like really compare to who it could be. Yeah. Because it's very much like it's in its own vein.
But yeah, that was a fun little thing that he did. He like,
you are a Gordon.
Yeah.
See, you, my friend, are a fucking diesel. Always fucking shit up.
It's really violent.
Very violent. Also, like it has like some of my favorite fight choreography I've seen in a while. Also, Michael Shannon is awesome in this.
Yeah, when you find out his like plan, you're like, God damn.
Like, oh yeah. So we finish off with everybody's plan. Yeah. So Prince, she's the daughter to the White Death, and she's pretty much, she wants to kill her father
and become
the
new.
She's like, I should be
leader.
running this. Like you looked at my dumbass brother who's a fuck up, and we're giving him everything. Our mother was murdered was killed because of you. But like she set up she pushed the kid off the roof to get the guy on the train, so then he would then be the sacrifice essentially for her killing the White Death type thing. But the White Death set this all up even more so, because he blames everyone around that's on this train for his wife's death.
Well, and that goes back into the whole fate thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And how he's trying to like, if the fate gave this to him, then he will control fate. Which then at the very end, with his head getting blown off due to the fate of his daughter doing it to, like, God damn, you see, like that's I think this movie, like, yeah, no, there is substance. It's just like it's not the most like, like, I
think it gets drowned out by the neon soaps, kind of the poppiness of it.
Yeah,
that you kind of forget. Like, what the hell am I watching? Like,
yeah.
But I mean, he looked great.
He fucking looked terrifying.
That's cool.
Like, dude, no, and he looked like there's a couple of anime characters in mind that I immediately, when I saw him, I was like, this guy is taken right out of an anime. Even like his facial structure, the way that he just like deadpan stares at Prince, like,
it's Michael Shannon with long hair doing a Russian accent, carrying around a
fucking samurai sword,
like a katana. Like,
it's fucking awesome.
It looks
so cool.
With a big red and black regal coat. Like,
Yeah,
it looks,
and it's not only like long hair; it's like slicked or thing. It's like crazy, just
messy,
like,
long.
messy.
Yeah, he looks great. He was really.
Oh man! And when you find out that, and that's one of the best twists in it, is when you find out that Ladybug, he's filling in for Carver.
Yeah.
And you find out that the White Death had hired everybody to be on this train, like with any specific jobs and whatnot, expecting this to be Carver, because Carver's the one that was driving the car that killed his wife. That was supposed to be a hit on him.
Yeah. Well,
and
I like
fucking Carver, man.
I like when he's like explaining his grand thing. Just Brad Pitt's like, yeah, man, let it out.
Just let it out.
The healing power.
Like, do you think? Have you ever gone to therapy?
I have a great one. I have a great therapist. It is funny.
Oh man. Also, like one of my favorite shots, and it's super subtle, is like when the elder is telling him the story about like his family and everything, and then like what a ladybug means with the 7 sorrows and the dots on their back and whatnot. The sun perfectly kind of like washes away the elder's face, and then you see it just kind of like brighten up like Brad Pitt's face. And it's like this moment, like he is now enlightened with everything more. And he's just, in that moment, just like, I don't want to carry everyone's sorrows.
I kind of do also get the whole like CGI drudgery at the end.
With like the crashing of the train. But like, it's also like, and very well crafted story. I'm actually very curious in reading this novel. But it's one of like, as we've talked about, like, you know, Adventures in Babysitting. I brought this up. I think it was as early on, is like when you have something like this, which is like an adventure story in a big way, you got to like one up each thing. And in the final act, in our climax, this train inevitably has to crash.
Yeah,
you know?
But it's also like, man, like it was like it happened, and I was like, man, they killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
Those trains go like 300 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I think it was careening into a suburban.
Well, I mean, it showed that it was going down to like 50 miles an hour.
Well, still though.
No, that's still fast. Like,
Yeah, like
no,
it's a train, you know.
like, and this fucking train's in Japanese.
There's no episodes in Japanese.
Yeah. That actually, I do got to say, one of the most strangely grounding moments of the entire movie is with Lemon sitting next to his brother's dead body.
Yeah.
I was just like, holy fuck, this is actually... I mean, that was weirdly intense.
How did Tangerine die again?
Huh?
How did Tangerine die again?
In a scuffle between him and Ladybug, the gun just went off and blew off the side of his neck.
Right. Because at first you thought Lemon was dead. Mm-hmm. Lo and behold, he's fine. It's Tangerine.
Because of the water bottle.
Yeah, because of the water bottle.
Which I love.
Oh, you drank the water. I just Brad Pitt, man. He's really funny in it.
Dude, he is. It's just kind of like,
funny.
he's like constantly when him and Tangerine are outside, and he's like holds up the briefcase, and he's like, yeah, we got it right here. And then it just busts open, a bunch of clothes fall out. It's like, fuck.
Well, it's like funny too, because it's like, because he's like goofy and aloof, but he's good at his job.
Yeah, and he's really good at fighting too. Yeah,
it kind of reminds me of his role from Burn After Reading. You dick, like that kind of like vibe.
I can see that. Yeah,
but you know, a little, you know, like all zen and shit. But just like he's just kind of. He comes up. He's not stupid. That's not
no.
He's not stupid.
I mean, he's like he's going through a personal turmoil. You know, like we kind of brought that up at the beginning.
Yeah,
like he's going to therapy. He's going
through a metamorphosis.
Like in the novel, he's a retired hitman who is.
And this he is, right. This is his first time back.
He's
basically.
coming, yeah, but like it's like this more. It feels like more in this. He's more like been on vacation. He's been on sabbatical. He's you know got a new view on life. He doesn't want to use guns anymore. He's tired of murdering people, and you know.
Because like you were saying, he accidentally does it a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. Like he's just doing a job and everything's going fine, and then one thing causes like a domino.
Exactly.
Down the line. Yeah, it's just.
Is that all we have to say about this movie?
I mean, it's fun.
Yeah. Fight choreography is great. I think the writing is super done well. The dialogue is I think the dialogue is very witty.
The dialogue is good.
Yeah.
The dialogue is good.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think on my second watch through, he's my favorite character in this.
The twins in general, I really.
The twins are just fucking fantastic.
And because, like you said, they have the John Travolta, Samuel Jackson kind of like.
Yeah, but it's like he like
dialogue is good.
How like angry and angrier and angrier and angrier he gets throughout this movie. To where like when he's at the end of the like he gets kicked off the train and he jumps on and catches it and punches his fucking way through the wind. It's just like it's unrealistic that a man would be able to do this, but it shows to this sense of like just how fucking much of a beast this dude actually is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it also like towards the end too, with the train kind of blowing up all around them, it had like this modern day Western kind of feel to it because of the like they're shooting up the train and
it's a bank. It's a train heist, a train robbery going wrong.
Yeah. And it is fun. The shooting of it's all just in the corridors.
Yeah.
Makes it really interesting to see like the fighting choreography and just the movement, like.
Well, and the way that they break down the story too, because like this isn't just like fit. It doesn't go like in one straight line. It kind of like it'll like introduce a character and then you like get a flashback of their like history or something.
Yeah. And like the whole fight scene between the Elder and the White Death was really so good. It was just really good. It had very high tension. Like when he's trying to get the sword out and he's like using his cane to pull him. Yeah. I was like, ah.
Oh no! When the Elder finally like gets like slashes him down, like gets the sword in him, and I'm just like, oh man.
I had that feeling. It's like when you play like a video game with a really fun fighting mechanic, you feel it. Like Batman.
Yeah,
the Arkham series had a really good. You felt like, and that's what that movie. There was moments you're like, you could feel it. You could feel it in my bones.
No, just the sitting across from each other, the fucking like just quick little like But that's also like thinking about that. When I realized that what Greg Mentor had also done, I see that in moments of like in Civil War in Endgame, I think is a better example when Captain America's fighting Captain America.
I thought you were gonna say Civil War between Tony, Steve, and Winter Soldier.
That too, yeah.
It's just ding, 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 ding. It's like it's very like again in a small and in a small space. Yeah. At the end there, I could see that.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember Steve fighting Steve very well.
That's fair. I mean, it's just very much like, and it is very much more of like American cinematography when it comes to fight choreography is a lot more of like quick, fast editing with close-ups of quick movements to make it seem like a lot more is happening than actually is. It's a lot safer way of filming as well, so like nobody gets hurt. But a more like in Old Boy, that whole like one shot scene, that's more like, I mean, that's Korean, but like that's more like the Eastern cinematography, the way that they filmed a lot more of their fighting scenes is a lot more full body as more of like it's a dance type thing.
Yeah, John Wick's like that too, right?
Yes.
John Wick's like that.
John Wick has like a mixture of both.
What was The Matrix like? I don't remember the first one.
It's a lot more just a very American style, I want to say. But like that's also they did a lot more of like the wires and stuff because they were like, breaking physics.
Yeah.
I
was used to I mean that scene with in the subway with Agent Smith.
Oh,
it was really cool. Yeah. Up against the wall.
Okay. So yeah, what's your rating here?
My personal one is 4 out of 5, but I'll be honest, it's at like a 3. It's good.
No, I definitely think this is like a 4, even like a 4.5 for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's a lot better than the critics like what we've read for it. I personally actually think the movie is actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think it's the classic thing. I think people went in and expect. I'm like,
This gave me everything I was expecting.
Yeah,
I think you and I just like after obviously the years of us doing this, but years of watching movies and whatnot. When we see a trailer for something, I feel like we can get an idea of what it actually is gonna be. Mm-hmm. You know? And
like we don't get sucked into the
yeah.
I don't know, the illusion that they're trying to give you. I think
and like sometimes you'll like get a trailer where it's like, oh, I know the entire premise to this movie.
Or and I think also what we have done too is that certain things that we're excited about or interested in, we just don't watch trailers to not get any kind of like pre-existing idea.
I think what was it? You know the movie Surrogates with Bruce Willis? Mm-hmm. I never watched it, but the trailer gave me enough information that I remember I was having a conversation with my mom. And she's like, yeah, Jacob, I think you'd like this movie. And I was like, I'd only seen the trailer. And I was like, yeah, but isn't it just like... And I just told the entire plot line to her. And she's like, Jacob, you said you haven't seen it. I'm like, well, the trailer told me all of that. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's bad sci-fi.
Yeah. That's the you use like robots.
Yeah.
Like our AI robot thing.
You can like you can download your mind into a new
and then
version
and then a serial killer starts going around killing people via the connection. Something he can't use his surrogate anymore because it puts him at risk.
Oh no, he never had a surrogate because he refuses. Like he's already like half like part like he has like a robotic leg, but he doesn't want to use a surrogate. He wants to be a human. Been a minute, yeah. I mean, that's what I remember. I don't remember him. Well, I think the twist at the end was that he does have a surrogate is a thing.
Well, I think he has a surrogate because I remember there's a moment where it's really... it's really bad looking young Bruce Willis. You know, it's like he's not this young.
Yeah.
I remember him looking like really like plasticky and young at a point.
Let's get off, sir. We totally took a twist off of Bullet Train. Yeah. I mean, we are actually sitting like really good time. So, I mean, so you do think, you personally do think like a 3?
No, I was saying personally, it's like a 4 for me.
Yeah,
but it's like I think like an honest rating
is
a 3.
You kind of see what the critics were saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the critics were a little harsh. Like, I mean, it's like yeah. I mean, yeah. Personally, for me, definitely a 4. But
I think also, but something that doesn't like I read a lot more of these. Than I tell you.
Yeah.
So I get like a lot of other
opinions and
stuff, and I'm like, okay, I kind of see that. Like this, like the whole, the CG at the end was a little clunky, and so like, I mean, I get it, Yeah. But I mean, I love this kind of shit.
I think also like the way that I approach a movie is like, how well is the storytelling? Like,
well, especially
like if it has like those special effects at the end, yeah, whatever. But it's not like they took me out of it or anything, and like it didn't ruin the movie for me.
No. So well, it's like it's like a pretty. It would like this kind of movie, like getting the bad guy's whole "you sly dog, you caught me monologuing," moment.
Yeah.
When it's very like I found it interesting. I was like, oh, okay. So I kind of felt that the White Death
because it
was behind it. But
it definitely like it leans into like very cliched ideas of stories, but I feel like it turns it takes a fresh look at them. With Ladybug having like he's kind of like our narrator through it, our unsuspecting victim through this journey.
Yeah, like the underdog who like he was just going to pick up a briefcase and he got into a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm. It's like if the wolf wasn't there at that exact door, he would have gotten off the train without any problems.
Well, that's what it was like with the White Death. You got this feeling pretty early on that he was behind it more than he was like, he was doing something. But then when his kid dies, you're like, wait, that's not good. But then you find out he's like, no, I wanted that little piece of shit to get killed. You're like, oh.
So you used your own ransom money to kill your son.
Yeah.
That's fucking dark.
Pretty brutal. Or even when she shows up in Prince and she's like, I'm the new White Devil. I think you were saying White Devil because of Ace Ventura.
Yeah, probably.
No one messes with the...
and then all the whitewashing in it. I don't know.
Let me guess. White Devil. Oh yeah, but she like shows up and she's like before she gets hit by the van or whatever.
Driven by Lemon. Did you catch that? Did you?
Yeah.
The tangerine truck. Huh. Interesting.
But just he's like, what is up with this fucked up family? It's just like It was like, and also there's a thing that I feel like really doesn't happen as much anymore, but the leading man or the leading hero also being the comic relief.
Yeah.
Usually isn't. It's always like, I'm gonna save the day, you know, but like he's like fumbling through it all.
What's interesting with that is that I feel like that's actually a lot more of a Japanese stereotype or cliche type thing, or it's that stock character.
Yeah.
Just think Goku, One Punch Man, Shin-Chan.
What's his name from One Piece?
Oh, I never really watched One Piece.
Luffy,
Luffy, something like that. But yeah,
Luffo?
yeah.
I don't remember what his name is. But yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the kind of. But you know, when push comes to shove, can actually
go
to town. You know,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, when Goku gets intense, he gets pretty intense. It's an entire episode of just
Sabine.
Just an entire episode of screaming at the camera.
Yeah, I think we can. Yeah.
Yeah. What are we doing next week?
Next week we are doing Del Toro's Pinocchio.
Oh yeah.
Which that one does have some Oscar buzz. That'll be a fun one to talk about.
Yeah, we haven't done an animation in a while.
No, we haven't.
And I like talking about animation.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it, and it is. What did I text you?
I can't remember.
I texted you when I was watching it. I was like, so there's some nightmare fuel in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Just because Pinocchio's like, you know, he's I don't know, he's creepy.
He's an actual puppet.
He's creepy. Like, he's a talking puppet. He's kind of creepy.
I'm a real boy. Look at me. Well, I'm a real boy.
Have you seen him though, right? You've seen what he looks like?
It's but it's not registering in my brain.
All right, well, keep that in mind when we talk next week.
All right.
Let me know what you think of him. But yeah, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Follow us.
Facebook,
Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple. Give us some reviews. Throw us some stuff.
Yeah, reviews always help too. Help with our algorithm. Like Apple Podcasts, all that kind of stuff. And then that could get our name out there more and more people listen. Well, thanks. I'm going to go take a nap. All right, bye, y'all. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob. This is Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape.
Peace.